you can get. And before I move back to the row, I'd like to one more time thank all the people, all the directors, from Mr. Karfoglu, to have him, he's a new director again. He's actually one of the founders of the organization. To Yanni Gagadiari, to Alex, to George, to Ilya, the famous Ilya, to all of you guys. Yeah, to all of you guys, to the member organizations, the HEPA, the Daughters of Development, Macedonians, etc. There are so many. I'm not going to say all the names, but it's a lot of people behind it. We appreciate and honor each and every one of them. And I wish for a very long and very fruitful cooperation and going forward, making more events. Thank you very much.
And now, our dearest Polyxeni. Polyxeni is a personal friend of mine for the last almost 30 years, and I'm delighted to know her because she's one of a kind. Simple. Okay, briefly for me, and then everything goes to her. Redefining relationships, an interactive experience with Polyxeni Kokovika, and expanding existence. Polyxeni is a total Greek. She doesn't look it, but she's definitely a Greek, okay? This isn't just another speech. It's an interactive experience led by my friend, a bold and straightforward speaker who is not afraid to challenge, provoke, and dive deep. The focus begins with relationships, particularly the evolving dynamics between us and our children. In a rapidly changing world, in an era where the rules, behaviors, and expectations have shifted, this experience will push you to reflect on how these changes shape the way we relate, communicate, and grow together. And be prepared to participate, and much more. I have more detailed information for anybody who wants. So I'm giving you all to Polyxeni Kokovika. Thank you.
This was written by ChatGPT because my English is not that good. Indeed, I speak 3 languages, but I don't speak any language really well. And for many years, I thought this is going to be my barrier to do what I love doing. And one day life happened, and I realized that it is not what you actually say or if you speak correctly, but rather what is your intention and what do you want to transmit to people. And to be honest, I'm a little bit, welcome. I'm a little bit ADD as well, and you know, it's difficult for me to remember everything and pay a lot of attention. And you can understand I was ditching school because I couldn't really focus, because if somebody would tell me just sit down there and listen, I was not able to do this. So as I was growing up, I realized that I want to change the world and help people to actually learn better. And my research started when I was really young to find a way for people to learn better, because I realized which are the ways that I do learn better. Okay, and this is not going to be really a speech that I'm talking and you guys listening, because this is so boring. I can't even follow sometimes, right? I wanted to be interactive. And in any moment that you guys feel that you want to ask a question, or there is something on your mind that you want to express gracefully, then I'm really open to do so. And because my friends here spoke before about, I heard the word money, I heard the word membership, I heard the word connection, friendship. What is all this? All this is relationship with money, relationship with people, relationship with ourselves to begin with, right? So I realized, even now, when I have my sessions online, for example, I have my earphones and I'm on my bike, right? My static bike, and I do my sessions. Why? Because my sessions are so much better when I move rather I'm seated. When I move around, and actually this wonderful gentleman there asked me, where are you going to stand? And I said, I don't know, because I have to move. I might feel a connection with this gentleman here, and maybe I want to be close to him and ask him a question. So movement is everything, because everything that remains stagnant is drying up your soul, and you can't move forward. So we need to keep our hearts fertile, you know my name, and we need to open up, because life is a continuous movement. And when we stop growing, we don't follow, we don't expand, and that's why I call my method expanding existence. Because we people, everything, not only we people, we keep on expanding. And the theme of today's conversation, I will call it, it was my friend's Rose idea, because we were talking about relationships, and we both realized that everything is relationships. And what's happening? People, they fail to have the relationships that we could have because we don't grow. Okay, we think that with whatever tools and knowledge we have today, they're going to work in the future. And actually they don't. Because if you want to move forward and have good relationships, whether that is your business, your friends, your family, whatever that is, you need to upgrade your tools and approach. So you can't, for example, deal with your kids or, with your family or with your lover, with your husband, whatever that is, same way that your parents used to do that. And you can't treat your children the same way you've been treated by your parents, because the world is changing and everything is changing with this world because we are expanding. So I'm here to give you some tools today that you already know. You already have this capacity to know when you stay still or when you move. These are two opposite dynamics. We need both and beyond, because we are not one thing, we are many things, to be able to extract the things that they exist within us and find all those tools to move forward. Okay? And for that reason, to begin with, I'm going to make you move a little bit. And the way I'm going to move you with music, I want you to follow your inner vibration, right? Just move your body with your inner vibration. That will give you all the strength, the opening that you need to get in touch with yourself and with the people around you. And I'm going to show you some points on your body, because we are one. This is the reality. We are one. We are all connected here. We don't know it yet, but we are. And we are connected with our spirit, with our mind, with our soul, with our body. It's all one. And sometimes we receive that as a separation. We receive that we are not one. We receive that, hey, when I have a headache, it's not related to my stomach. Me as a naturopath, I know that everything is related to everything. And if something hurts in your body, that has to do with your soul. That has to do, when we are not in a good space, that means that we don't know what we want. And when we get in touch with ourselves and we start understanding what we know, that pain has the capacity to go away. Okay? So we're going to move a little bit because we're going to feel better, because we're going to come out of our stagnation. Yeah, are we already agreed? Let me find a song. That's why I keep this in my pocket, right? Okay, so
Fleetwood Mac.
okay.
Fleetwood Mac.
Okay, everybody,
I'm gonna get down.
I'm going to close this door because I don't want to disturb the people.
You asked for Macarena?
You see, orange and I'm going to put the drums. Why am I putting the drums? Because Because the drums, they are connected. Where do you feel the drums? Where do you feel the drums? Here. Okay, let's go. This is the time. This is the time. Okay, who wants to talk? Who wants to talk? What did you feel when you moved and you laughed and you did something silly?
Excitement.
Okay. What else? What else? Happiness. What else did you feel? What else did you feel? What's that?
High energy.
High energy. What else?
Connection.
Connection. Okay, what else? What else? Come on, guys. Come on. Who felt ashamed? Who felt ashamed?
I didn't feel ashamed.
Okay. Who felt uncomfortable?
Come here.
Interactive, yes.
Okay.
Can I say something?
Why did you feel like You know what they say, making friends and keeping the old. Okay.
Each one of us, we feel uncomfortable for whatever reason that is. We feel uncomfortable because, right? He was honest enough to say, I felt uncomfortable because I don't know anyone. That's relationship, that is connection. I don't know anyone. Okay, do you know anyone here?
Yeah,
You do? You know me now?
yes.
Yes. Okay, but if you knew someone, which means you would be more connected, maybe you would open up and dance.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
All right? Anyone criticize themselves?
No, but can I say something?
Yes.
If you didn't participate,
Yes.
that doesn't mean that it's a negative
No.
effect of the exercise.
No.
That doesn't mean that I was uncomfortable or didn't connect with people.
No.
It's just for me.
He felt that.
Right. That.
That's his personal
Right.
perception. That's
Right.
how he felt. And we are here to explore exactly this today. What is this? We are all different. And what we do is actually we criticize. We criticize ourselves, of course, and the others. And actually, we criticize more our family, our children, our husband. That's the number one thing we criticize. And that's why relationships don't work. Okay, thank you. Thank you. So the number one thing why relationships don't work is because we criticize. Okay? Why do we criticize? Because we learn that way. But you know what? If you want to move forward, you have to unlearn what you learned. Every morning when you wake up, you have to look around the world. You have to open your beautiful window and look out and say, is that a green tree? How do I know? Someone told me that this is a green tree, but I'm not sure. Do you know why? Because we see what we've been taught. We are all conditioned to see things. Do you know what happened to me before I came here, you guys? I booked my flight yesterday because I was in Florida after the fires with LA. I flew to Florida to my daughter to feel, close to my people. And then I knew that I had this speech today, and I booked my ticket on the 18th of January. This is what I thought. 18th was yesterday, right? Okay. Guess what? My flight was booked for the 19th of February. Okay, I sent it to my daughters. I sent the email to my daughters to check it out because sometimes I'm so busy and my life is everywhere. Can you check it out? Yes. I sent it to you all. Can you check it out? Yes. And then I'm ready to go. I said, why didn't I check out? I didn't receive an email. Pretty soon to realize that I hadn't received an email to check in because my flight was on the 18th of February. Why do I use this example? Because first of all, I always use examples that they're happening in my life, the present moment. And why do I tell you this? Because we see what we are conditioned to see. Every time I was looking at the email, I would see January 18th, but it was February 18th. What did I miss? Do you think you see everything around you? You don't. Let me tell you. Okay? You might driving every day on the same street, going to work, going to wherever you go, and you don't see some very specific things. And guess what? One day you need something. You say, hey, I want to go to, I don't know, to fix my shoes, to something. And you ask, hey, where is this place? And someone is telling you, it's on that street. And, no, I go on this street every day and I haven't seen any. Yeah, but your shoe was not broken, so you didn't see it. All right? So, this is another very important element. We see what we are conditioned to see. And we need to wake up every morning and ask ourselves, do I see the things that are giving me joy? Or do I see the things that I've been taught, the things that maybe they're not my things, they don't represent me. Remember, this is our universe. We are creating this experience. Okay, and people, before I come here and today, they were asking me, I mean, what did you prepare to say? I'm sorry to tell you, actually I'm glad to tell you that I don't prepare what I'm going to say. I trust that myself is going to find the right words. Why? Because I see you guys. I see you guys, I see your faces, I speak to Anthony, and all of a sudden I know which is the next thing I'm going to say. So trust. Trust is another big element, right? Who feels in here that in some point in your life you felt betrayed? Like, raise your hand. I can raise both my hands, my arms, hey, all my existence. Okay? Who felt betrayed in this room? Let's go, let's go, let's go. Okay, we all felt betrayed. Do you know why we're feeling betrayed? Because we have expectations. We have expectations that people will react the way we want them to react. That people will be the way we want them to be. Because we have our rules, we are controlling. We want people to behave because we have this expectation. I wouldn't do that, I wouldn't behave that, I wouldn't cheat, I wouldn't lie, I wouldn't this, I wouldn't that. Yes, but me, it's me. And the other person is you. And I can't expect you to react or talk to me or be with me the way I would like it to be. Okay, you don't like that. Is there anyone who's disturbed with what I'm saying? Is there anyone who feels, no, it's unethical. He shouldn't do this, he shouldn't do that. Is there anyone who feels this way? There is only one person you can trust in this life. It's yourself. Why it's yourself? Because people are afraid of connections, afraid of relationships, and we all fail on that because we're expecting to find someone that we're going to trust. And this thing, it doesn't exist.
It does. I'm married
Go ahead.
57 years. I'm with the same woman 60 years, and I trust her all the way, and I trust my kids.
Okay,
So,
that's
it,
great.
you know?
That's great. But when I say it doesn't exist, what do I mean? That if a person will betray you, let's say that your daughter will lie to you. I don't know, maybe she did and you don't know it, right? Okay. Okay, you need to... Okay, we are humans. You need to trust yourself of how you're going to deal with that. You can't trust the person. It doesn't mean that, oh, I don't trust you. I don't mean that. It does mean that if you're not going to do what I want, I'm not going to be mad at you. Why? Because I understand you're a human and you can do whatever you want. I can't rule you. I cannot rule you. I cannot. The only thing that I can do is to know how am I going to react and what am I going to do when this will happen in my life. Because at the end of the day, everybody might hurt you. Your mother will tell you something that you don't like. Your child will tell you something. Your husband, right? Exactly. Okay, I don't know anyone who a member of their family is hurt on some level, right? So there is this thing. So what are you going to do? You're going to be mad at that person? You're going to destroy your life and be sad or whatever? Or you know how to handle the situation? You need to know how to handle the situation. I know women and men that they refuse to have an intimate, a very close relationship because they're afraid that they're going to get hurt. But guess what? It is like almost impossible to have a relationship without getting hurt. We are different people. We come from different worlds, different families. Here, brothers and sisters, they born in the same family and they're not alike at all. Right? Why? Why? For many reasons. But a very important reason is that the parents were in a different phase in their lives the moment they had the second child or the third child. Okay? Is that true, Christina?
Probably the baby.
Okay. So trust is a very important thing, and we need to learn how to trust ourselves. And the more you trust yourself, I don't know how it works. It's actually a magical thing. It's really magical. But the more you trust yourself, the more trustworthy you become. And the more you trustworthy you become, you trust in yourself. You need to trust your ability to act in whatever situation. And I don't know if you heard, I said to act. I didn't say to react. Because reaction is stealing your power. So when you react in a relationship, let's say with your children or with your partner, you reacting is not going to work. Because we all fall into patterns. So you need to act and not to react. And I had this conversation with Christina today when we were coming here, and we were talking about, what we were talking about? Come on, Christina. No, this is an interactive thing, right? What we were talking about?
Which of all of it?
We were talking about the patterns.
Oh,
Okay, we all do have patterns. And when we are in relationships, we're using these patterns. And this is why we fight. And this is why we have relationships that they don't work. We learn each other patterns so well that you're using them in a way to rise a fighting, for something to happen. And when we're going to say, you know what, it was her fault. It was her fault. Clearly, it was her fault. Why don't we turn instead to ourselves to see that if we are going to change a pattern within ourselves, everything will change around us. If we start doing things differently, if we start changing the things that they don't serve us, they don't serve our growth, then everything will change around us. And if you think that this will happen overnight, maybe it won't. Do you know why again? Because we fall into patterns. So if I'm with this gentleman right now, we have a relationship, right? And he knows very well who I am. He knows very well that if he's going to tell me something, I'm going to react. There is a possibility that he's going to do it to actually tease me in a bad or in a good way. And if I'm going to catch the bite, it's not going to be good. So I have to change my behavior towards his behavior. And when he's going to behave in a way, I have to stop reacting in the thing that he's doing to me. Am I clear in what I'm saying? So I need first to change my action towards something, so the other person will stop reacting. Because we like throwing responsibilities to others, and we don't want to take responsibility that if something doesn't work in a relationship, it's not the other person's fault. Actually, it never is. It's always our fault, because we are choosing to begin with to be in this relationship, and we also choose not to change anything. And you know what? Nothing will change if you're not going to change yourself first. And if I want to open that door and I use an old key, it's not going to open. So if I want to have a new, fresh relationship, in every kind of relationship, I need to get a new key. And I need first to start with myself. Okay? Any questions? Because you all have relationships in a different way. So I really want this to be interactive, and I really want you guys to ask me whatever comes in your mind, something that is very important to you. Yes, yes, come.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm with my husband. I know
Yes.
what you're saying,
Yes.
because we would interrupt each other.
Yes.
I would tell him, I already know what you're gonna say, stop talking. You know, okay, you know, and then I realized that's so wrong. And so I stopped, I just let him talk, and he just became a Greek citizen, Victor Macreeps. And so I would let him talk, and he was shocked. He saw the difference because I had been thinking about it. I'm being so rude, I'm being so unkind. And he could tell it, and then he stopped interrupting me as much. I just have to keep remembering.
That is very important what you said. Do you guys understand what she said? Yeah, but what has changed? What has changed in your relationship? I want you to tell me the feelings that they changed, the dynamic that has changed. What has changed?
Well, you said start with yourself first,
Yes.
and I can tell that he has been kinder to me. And so, I mean, we've got a long way to go because we've been doing this for so long. But I mean, you know, I can tell the difference. And you're right, it has to start with you. I can't blame him. Well, I'm doing this, I'm interrupting him because he talks too much. You know, that's not good.
Yes. He needs to talk for some reason. He needs to be heard. And I want to make a parenthesis on this point. Female and male, we are completely different. We are the same species, but in a way, we're not. Okay, we're completely different. And we need to understand, that our language is completely different. We communicate in a different way. And for us to communicate better, hey, we need to learn a new language. And if we're not willing to do, guess what? We're not going to have a good time. None of us. We need to understand what men want, and they need to understand what women want, and it's completely different. Men want to be respected, okay? They want to be heard, okay? They want to be praised. Women want to be seen, okay? It's very important. They want to be understood because we have so many feelings. Our hormones are changing, right? We have 135 different feelings and thoughts, and men are like a little bit more simple.
Basic.
Right? They're more simple. They're more to the point. They're more to the point. We have a lot of feelings, but Mother Nature created us this way because we become mothers. Our hormones are all over the place until we die. So, you know, it's like within an entire month, maybe we're okay 1 week of month. Because, right? Yeah, that's a reality because we always something. We have a period, we're going through menopause, we just gave birth, we're lactating, there's always something.
Always something.
And this is why we are so resourceful, because sometimes something that we call adversity, and thank you so much, we can turn it to be a great opportunity for us. Whatever that is. I mean, show me, tell me whatever, and I can show you the opportunity. Because life, it doesn't happen like this. It doesn't happen like this. Life is like a puzzle. Maybe you can't see it now because it's happening, and maybe it's very frustrating, maybe it's very painful, but later on, when you put, yes, of course, when you put a puzzle together, you realize that happening for you. Life is happening for you to learn, for you to grow, for you to expand your existence, for you to understand a little bit more about yourself, the person next to you. But this is why life is happening. And many times it hurts. And that's when you grow more. This is your opportunity when it hurts and you're like sometimes on the floor. That's the time that you can from here like jump high and come out and see other things that you couldn't see before you were in that position in your life. Anyone had an experience like this?
No, I just have a question.
Yes.
Just to clarify, you know, your statement about women being hormonal.
Yes.
So, you know, there's an attitude, I think, that says that because of different hormone changes during the month in a woman's life, that they have different like psychological attitudes towards that. Do you believe that?
Of course I believe, because first of all,
Do you
I'm
think
a
that-
mother, and I understand that nature has created us this way, because we need to defend our child. You know, we need to become very protective. You know, we need to be prepared to go through all this adventure. Not all of us will go, but still, life is giving us all those tools. So,
But do you think they are unreasonable in their emotions, in the way of thinking, because of the way our hormones function?
I believe that we are all hormones. That's why we're changing personalities, because we do change personalities in every age. We're not the same when we are 10 years old, and we're not the same when we become teenagers. You see your little child is so cute, and it's 5 years old, and then is 11 years old, and you see a completely different person. You don't know that person. Who's that person? And then you see an adult who's 30 years old and is a completely different person. And then you see an older person, an older woman who's 55, and she's a completely different person. Doesn't mean that happens to everybody, but this is what's happening often. Yeah. You know, and this is happening because Mother Nature wants us to be protective, to have this. First of all, we women, we have a very, very strong sense of seeing and feeling deeper than men. Okay, this doesn't mean that men do other wonderful things, but we have this sense of seeing and understanding things deeper, because we become mothers. And we have to be there with a baby that doesn't understand a lot, can't communicate, and you have to be there. And you see mothers that they say, oh, I know my baby is hungry now. I know my baby is uncomfortable now. How do we know all this? Do you think if you're going to give this to a man, he's going to understand that?
Oh my God.
Okay, so you see what I'm talking about. So we are different, but yet we can't be without each other. Can we be without each other? We need this exchange, we need this connection, and we need to learn to communicate with each other. And I'm reaching another point now, talking about listening. We think we're listening. Hello, I haven't seen it. Okay, so we think that we are listening, but we don't. We are listening superficially. Okay, we are selective listeners. So when this lady here said that she had this challenge with her husband, is because she was listening very superficially. She was listening the nod, and then one day she has decided to start listening in a deeper level, because when people talk, okay, you need to be able to listen into a deeper level, because when people talk, they actually expressing their feelings. They're expressing something deeper, and they want to communicate it to you, and we need to start really listening deeper and have an active listening. We need to observe the little words. Nobody will ever tell you a story without a hidden meaning behind it. Every word we use has a deeper meaning that shows our feelings, that shows a request, that shows a demand, that shows a complaint, that shows something. And that's why I said to you before, we shouldn't react but act. What does my husband, my partner, my child wants to tell me into a deeper level? And many of us that we are parents, okay, getting back to parenting, to communicate with our kids. Because as I said in the beginning, we're communicating the same way we've been taught. And it's impossible. Because our kids, the reality is that they're more advanced. Whether we like it or not, every generation is more advanced than the previous one. Maybe we're wiser. We are. Maybe we have more knowledge. We do. okay? Maybe their front part of the brain is going to develop until till the age of 30. I agree, but they have the capacity to connect with a new age, with a new reality, with things. That's why you see a baby is going there on an iPhone and they know how to do it. They say, oh my God, I mean, look at me. I've been trying all this time to do it and I can't. But they can. And we need to understand that we need to make the effort. We need to expand. We need to be open to understand and communicate with them. So if your relationships, they don't work with your kids, because you actually wanted me to talk a lot about this, you need to look within. You need to look what you have to change for you to communicate with your children. It doesn't have to do with your children at all. It only has to do with you. Even when people come to me and they say, oh, you know, I don't know, my child is smoking, is drinking, and does drugs, I don't mean to say that it's the parents' fault, you see? Different language. It's not your fault. It is you that you have to understand your child in a deeper level and understand that sometimes people, they self-medicating because they cannot deal with their pain. Okay, and then we're looking at our children and we say, oh, it's your fault you did this, or it's your fault you did that. But it's actually nobody's fault. It's just lack of communication, and you need to find all those tools to understand how you're going to use them to have a better partnership, relationship, or whatever that is. Any questions? Anyone who wants to talk, to share a story, to ask more?
I grew up with my grandfather.
Yes.
My mother, my grandfathers, they were all born in Pontus, in Turkey.
Sorry,
Yeah,
I lost the
louder.
door.
Yeah, louder.
Yes.
Louder.
Come here.
The front.
I grew up with my grandfather, who had the same name, whose name I have.
Yes.
Now, my parents were all working in the village. We had no televisions
Can
or
we have some
radios.
silence, please, so we can
Yeah.
hear?
So, my nickname when I was a teenager was a grandpa, they called me, because I learned from my grandfather not to expect anything. You do things, you do it to please yourself. And as long as you pleases somebody else, is good. That's why I never expect anything for what I do. My wife always understood it. My father didn't. My father used to needle her, tell him to stop doing all this, tell him to pay more attention at home. But I never neglected my family. But what I do with the videos, with the TVs, with and everything, is something that gives me pleasure. And if George gets pleasure out of it, I'm happy for it. But I don't do it for George, I don't do it for anybody else, I do it for me. I never expected from my kids or grandchildren, I always told them, God made us all individual. There's nobody, even identical twins in my family are different. So you do things the way you feel is better. I would give him an example how I would do it. And I said, now that you know how I do it better. Do it yourself, because you are individually different and you can do what's best for you. And up to 76 years old, that's how I lived all my life.
Wow,
I never expect anything
that's
from
incredible.
anybody.
I don't have anything to say, because actually, I don't know if you guys remember, this gentleman said that he has an amazing relationship. Who understands why this person has an amazing relationship? Who can explain it to me?
He never asks for any money.
Because we're all different. Okay?
I don't expect anybody to do anything for me.
Okay, so
You know, and the same thing is like I don't expect it from my kids or my daughter or my, my grandchildren. I do and I live life, and my wife is satisfied with what I do and everything else, because there's understanding. We are two people, but one person in heart, one person inside. And we feel each other's pain and everything else. And we've been doing that since he was 16 and I was 17. And now, you know, she's 75 and I'm 76.
Okay, so this is the recipe of every relationship.
That's it. A lot of people listen, but they don't hear what's going on. You need to hear what is said. And you
Okay,
need
what
to
keeps
feel
us
what
from
is said.
here? Who has a clue? What is keeping us from here? What the other person? Right.
Our ego is right.
Ego, yeah.
Being
Ego.
right.
Ego.
Being right.
Being right.
Being right is ego, okay? I want us now, since you said that, because I was about to finish, but you see it never ends, okay? Ego. Let's talk about ego because that's the most important thing. Of course, we have an ego because we live in this body on this earth and we have this body, so this is an ego, this is me. My name is Polyxeni and I have a personality, right? And I have an identity. And I'm going to get back to identity. You have to remind me the word identity because the brain sometimes, okay. So what's happening with an ego is because we see the world as we are. Do you know that we see the world as we are? You think that we all see the same things? We don't. We see the world as we are. So if I'm a person that I see that the world is going to end from moment to moment, I have some friends like this, they call me all the time, they send me texts on Instagram, on Facebook, and they tell me, did you hear this? The world is about to end. Do you know why they did that with COVID? Do you know why they put the fires now in LA? There is always a conspiracy thing. So that person sees life as a conspiracy, right? My mom sees the world as a danger. Like everything always will happen to me. Are you okay? Are you sure you're okay? Be careful, be careful. Are you okay? Okay. So her whole world is fear. Like she thinks that all the time something will happen. Indeed, the Turks will invade Greece since I remember myself. Every day I was going through that Greece will be invaded by Turks and we have to be prepared. Okay, that is fear, okay? What is fear? What is a real fear and what is a fake fear? For sure, a real fear is that if I'm going to jump from the 5th floor, I'm going to die, most probably. But it's not a real fear that the Turks will invade Greece. Why? Because, listen, thank you very much for mentioning this. Okay, you disagree. And I'm going to satisfy your disagreement straight away. How many years did you live with this? With this fear?
Since I was born yesterday.
How many years? How many years?
Recently.
No. How many years you lived with the fear
Recently.
that today, recently, you didn't have this fear before?
Because I'm from the west side of Greece, and I wasn't threatened by the Turks.
Yes.
But I think that the fact is that now life has changed, my dear Polyxeni.
Yes.
The dynamics in life and in the world have changed.
Yes.
And we live in a crazy time. So maybe it is because I'm older. Because you said yesterday.
So we see the world the way we are.
Well, absolutely.
Because I see the world that we live in the best times we ever lived in any other time in the world. If you're going to look in the past and you see that people will die from a simple sickness. Most of women will die when they were giving birth, right? We didn't have many ways to communicate with the world. I'm traveling all around the world. I would never talk to my mom or my daughters when they're in a different place in the world, right? We are getting a lot of education in our world that it was not possible before. Women are treated in a much better way than they used to be treated. Animals are treated in a better way than they used to be treated. People have a higher consciousness than before. We care about other people and we take care of them. Meanwhile, in the older times, someone will put you in a dungeon and who nobody knows who. So there are many good things, and I choose to see that. So we see the world the way we are, okay? And of course, as we're growing older, we might have more fears because now we're going to another place now.
Weaker. As we grow older, we don't have this future ahead of us. We are weaker, and we're sitting there and we're actually not active, but we're recipients of whatever the others do.
That has to do with your spirituality. And the spirituality is a very big subject. I don't know if it's the right time to talk about this, but if you don't have access within a kind of spirituality in your life, and you see this dimension and this time in our life as the end of everything, then you're going to have fear. Again, this is your universe. Again, this is your choice. Again, is how you see yourself. My father always used to say to me, if you want to understand the world, look around you. Look at the seasons. You have the spring, you have the summer, you have the autumn, you have the winter. Everything changes, right? And everything recycles itself. Yes or no? Like the leaves fall into the ground, they become a nut, the worm goes there, the bird goes there again, and recycling, blah, 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 blah. So everything recycles itself. So we are going through a recycling. Do you feel that whatever exists within you, not this, not even this, but that is your higher self. That is God. That's your inner wisdom. Whatever you call it. Each one of us, we choose to have a different name for that. And nobody can tell to anyone how you're going to see it. But you all know that there is something, we call it greater. Okay, some people, they call it greater. It is greater. Because it doesn't belong in this body. It's greater. This is why sometimes you say, hey, I just want to be, my dream is to, I don't know, to go and live in this city and have this house and get married. And life doesn't happen this way. I said, but I want it to happen this way. There is something inside you which is your greater self that knows better, has a greater wisdom, and knows better to choose the best experience for you. You think you can choose, but let me tell you something. Your inner self thinks greater for you. And if you trust, and getting back to the trust, your greater self is going to give you things greater than you think that you deserve. Because if you follow this mind is human. Our mind is human, has been conditioned. Cannot expand it to the point to give you greater things. But your inner self, God, whatever you call it, has greater things for you. And you need to trust. That's why we say, trust your gut feeling. Have you ever dealt with your gut feelings?
Yes.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
And every time you don't trust it, you regret it. Yes or no?
Yeah.
Okay. What is that gut feeling? What do you think is that gut feeling? I think I have to come close to you guys because you're making so much noise. You don't sound I can see you. Okay, intuition. Okay. How do we know if this is intuition
It's not intuition.
or if it's your fear?
It's the Holy Spirit. It is my connectivity to God, and that's what it is. And when you go and you connect with that inner part of you, which is not your physical, it's not your mind, that's when you get those feelings. And that's that other level of connectivity. And that's where we make those decisions to change ourselves and say, I'm going to listen more. I'm going to do that. It comes from that connection and that guidance.
But I have a question.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Chris.
Of course.
Is the Holy Spirit, is it the Spirit that you mentioned? Is that only so we have to change and have these feelings? Only the Orthodox, only the Christians?
No,
What about the Buddhists?
everybody.
Or the Hindus?
Everybody.
They don't have any spirit,
Well,
Holy
it's
Spirit.
what they believe is the Spirit. It's their connected. It's how they define
I
it.
mean their belief.
How-
Whatever is
whatever
their
it
belief,
means
their
to
faith.
them, yes, whatever it means to
Okay.
them. To me, I have a friend who is not of any religion, and we are so similar. And she tells me this, and I go, well, I call that the Holy Spirit. This is what she calls it. Da, da, da. But we connect because we're the same. We're people. We understand.
You know how many times I have told my husband that the Holy Spirit has told me to do that, and he should be doing it with me. The Holy Spirit only.
Okay? She calls it this way, you call it this way, we call it God, Allah, whatever, inner self, inner wisdom. I believe, because from my experience, that, as I said, we're all connected with a big picture, and we are into this picture, and the big picture is within us. So we are all connected and mingled, and it's one thing, and that's how I perceive it. And this is why language is very important. And I'm not talking about this language that I'm talking about, is the language that how do we express to our partners, to our kids, to our loved ones, the things that we believe in order for us to understand us in a deeper level and, you know, to be open to understand us. Because there is such a great thing, communication is such a great thing. Because if I'm going to tell you, you know something, what you're doing, I don't like it, you're going to be offended. But no, I'm just, but if I'm going to tell you, you know what, I feel right now that if you're going to talk to me in a better way, I think that will make me feel good.
But you know what I'm thinking about all this? I don't know how you all feel, but it seems, and we have a wonderful doctor among us. Dr. Paulina, we have a doctor, an actual doctor, who can tell us all of these things that you have studied about what the ancient Greeks used to say, a healthy body in a healthy mind, and all of these things together, right? That we affect each other. They affect each other. But I'm going to tell you, I've heard you all this time, I'm listening to you, and all the responsibility falls on us, on changing. All the responsibility, because we're the only ones that can produce the change, right?
Absolutely.
I can't depend on my husband or on my kids. I can speak all the time.
And you can't even request it.
But can I say something easier?
Yeah.
Is that why there is a divorce?
Yeah.
Is that easier? We change the key, you said. Didn't you say earlier?
I said we
Don't
change the
say
key to
don't.
get into a
Yes.
new world.
Yes, the key. And I was, why isn't the divorce easy? I've been married for 61 years to the same man. So obviously I haven't tried the divorce. But I'm saying that that's why there is a divorce. Because some people, we're talking about the male-female relationships or the married the two adult relationships, not about the children. You can't divorce the children. The children are very vulnerable and they want to have healthy adults to guide them. So the thing is that we have to find every way to communicate. But we're all humans. We can't be perfect all the time. We do
Absolutely.
mistakes.
Of course. But at that point, you said something that is going to make me to say something, and maybe this is going to be the last thing I'm going to say. We don't set boundaries. And I don't even like the word boundaries. Maybe you can give me another word to use, because to some people, boundaries, it seems like a wall, but it's not that. Okay? Another problem, challenge that we have with our loved ones is that we don't put boundaries. You said about we can't divorce our children. We cannot divorce our children, but we can set boundaries. I cannot divorce my parents, but I can set boundaries. I'm not going to stay there and get the abuse from someone because they chose to abuse me verbally, emotionally, or mentally, because as you know, there are different kinds of abuse. Control, extreme control, can be a kind of abuse. So we love our families. We love our families. We don't have to divorce them, but we can set them boundaries. If they do something to hurt us, if they're doing something that they're making us feel uncomfortable, I'm not going to be there and say, hey, my mom is old. I feel so sorry for her. Let her abuse me. Because then I'm going to abuse my child. Then I'm going to abuse my husband. Yes.
Oh, no, she's waving.
Ah, okay, yeah. So setting boundaries to ourselves of how we're going to deal with other people, how we're going to behave with other people, and set our boundaries of how we want to be treated. Nobody can treat you in a way that you don't want to be treated, as this nice gentleman said there, because he already set his boundaries when he was 16, even younger. He said, I'm going to do the things I like. He likes doing what he's doing right now. So when he met his wife, he made sure that his wife knew that. Yes?
Yes.
Yes. So if my child is behaving badly to me, or no, honey, this is it. Or if someone is behaving bad to me, or I behave to someone bad, myself, that means that there are no boundaries. Boundaries, what does boundary mean? Self-respect. Right? Because I don't want to say self-love. Oh, we hear all this cheesy thing. Oh, I love myself, self-love. Oh. What is self-love? It's self-respect. If I respect myself, I don't want you to hurt me. Why?
I don't want to allow you to hurt.
Yes, I don't allow you to hurt me. So I set my boundaries. We say, if you hurt me, I'm going to go. But I have to go. Now, if you're going to hurt me, I'm going to go. You hurt me. If you're going to hurt me, what am I doing? I'm threatening and nothing is happening. If you're going to hurt me, if you're going to do it again, I'm going to go. If I'm going to go, I'm not coming back. So that person will understand that they have to change something.
And that goes also for children, parents, children.
That
as
goes
well.
to everything, but you need to understand something. Who's the greater person?
The parent.
So it has to start with me. I'm the adult. I'm the wise. I have to know. I can't expect from my child to know. I'm giving my guidance, not with my words, but with my actions. I show them that I respect myself. And if they're going to do something, I'm going to tell them and I'm going to take action. So they learn to do the same. So if something doesn't work, it's something I do wrong. And let me go back to identity because I remember it. Hey, I remember it. So identity is very hard to beat. We all have an identity, right? We are a certain age and we already have an identity, and this identity reflects out into the world. Even if you're going to ask someone, hey, do you know Polyxeni? Oh yeah. Okay, describe Polyxeni a little bit to me. Someone will describe me. So I have an identity to people. I don't know, Polyxeni is a deep thinker, Polyxeni, she's a connector, Polyxeni is sensitive, Polyxeni, she likes dancing, Polyxeni, she likes cooking, whatever that is. Okay? Sometimes that identity can be a big trap. A huge trap. Do you know why? Because we don't want to change our identity because we're going to lose something. Hey, we're going to lose our connections, our friends, right? Who I am, who am I in this world? I'm my identity, what people know about me. I belong, I feel good, I feel safe. And that's why we don't change. Because I want to be the little kid all the time. So I'm 40, 50, 60, 70, I'm the little kid. If I'm going to lose that being the little kid, I'm not accepted in my community. If I will stop doing drugs, something that I come across all the time, I'm going to lose all my friends. If I will stop drinking alcohol, I'm going to lose my connection with my crowd. Right? So I don't change because I'm going to lose my identity. This is the toughest thing, to change my identity. Why should I change it? I should change it when I don't have joy. I should change it when whatever people think about me or whatever identity I have to the world, it doesn't serve me anymore. Hey, it doesn't make me happy anymore. It doesn't give me what I want. I want different things. And for me to change it, I have to start by changing my barriers on my brain, my action steps, my behaviors, my choices, my everyday choices of action. And it isn't always easy. But I have to have a vision. Who do I want to be? I have to know who do I want to be. I want to be somebody else now. It doesn't serve me. It doesn't matter how old I am. And I know that for people that are older, they think it's difficult. you know, the old me. Now, who wants to change? Who wants to do that? But you're here, and you're going to go to the next level of existence after you leave this body, right? And you're going to develop there as well. So you need to understand, that's why I call expanding existence what I'm doing, because we keep on expanding. We can't be the same people. We can't be the old me, you know, the old me. Yes, Heather.
You're basically talking about comfort zone.
Absolutely.
And people don't want to get out of the comfort zone.
Yes.
That's it.
Yes.
A lot of people are afraid to get out of the
Exactly.
comfort zone.
And it's fear again, the fear of change. But guess what? Yes, comfort zone.
That's what exactly it's called.
Absolutely. There are more words.
Yeah.
Okay, safety zone, comfort zone. Okay, but guess what? I'm going to tell you this and I'm going to finish. You need to become uncomfortable to become comfortable. In order for you to grow, you need to become uncomfortable to become comfortable. Okay? So, anyone who wants to something else, have a question?
I saw this young couple on Facebook,
Yes.
and they just got married, and the wife says, now that we got married, you can sell your motorcycle so I can go shopping. So he says to her, you sound like my ex-wife. So she says, I didn't know you were married. He says, I wasn't.
Okay, so yeah, this is what's happening, right? Before we meet a partner, before we meet our partner, we have hobbies, we have things that we like doing, and then we have kids, right? And we have our partner, and then our partner says, hey, I want to go and play my guitar with my friends. And, you know, because I had these clients, and she said, yeah, but I have the kids, I just gave birth to our second child. You know, you can't do this. You can't just leave me and go there and play your guitar. Meanwhile, I'm breastfeeding, I'm cooking, the children are crying. So they start fighting. What are you doing? First of all, active listening. You need to put compassion. That's another word. What is compassion? Compassion is, do you say you love the other person? You say you love the other person? Then you want that person to be happy. You want that person to have joy. And that person will be able to share that joy with you. Because if I'm satisfied, what makes me happy is dancing. Right? If what makes me happy is playing music. Okay? It doesn't mean that you are everything to me. That's an illusion. Life is consistency. There are many things. And for me to be a person, you know, a total, a complete person, I need different things in my life. Not one thing can make me happy. So when I want to spend time with my friends and play the guitar, you're going to be happy for me that I want to go there. I understand that you're going to be with the kids, but we're going to find a way, because there is a way to find a way to work it out. So maybe you can go with your friends and you can go to your dance school, and I'm happy because you're happy. Because if I'm going to take your toy away, you're not going to be happy. And did you see before when we started the beginning of this today, when we start playing, everybody was laughing. Everybody was laughing because we were doing silly things. And we need to be silly. We need to be playful. We need to be playful and stop criticizing people that they are silly and playful. Because there is another thing to be serious as a person and responsible, and another thing to be serious-like and not having fun. Okay? So we need to be silly, because what we lose is actually our childlike energy. We stop playing. And actually, I'm promoting this. I want to create places that adults go there and play. We have to start playing again and be silly and express ourselves and become vulnerable. Because vulnerability, it's a freedom. And we shouldn't be afraid to be vulnerable. And indeed, it's very charming as well. We are attracted to people that they are vulnerable and they show themselves. Yes or no?
Yes.
So be that.
Because we all have the child inside.
Exactly. So stop criticizing, but rather create awareness. There is a fundamental difference between criticism and awareness. I'm aware of something. I don't criticize. I want to be aware of something. If I'm doing something wrong, if I see something that doesn't represent me. But criticism and awareness are two different things, and awareness is something that we all constantly should strive to all the time learn and achieve. Thank you very much for being here today.